welcome to Crime Cafe, and today we're going to be talking about Lily Peters' case. I've been seeing her case. It just happened. I've been seeing it all over, and I really wanted to dive into it and put all the information in one place. So obviously from the thumbnail you can see that Lily is a child, and not everyone likes to watch children's cases, and that's completely understandable. After I had my son, I really couldn't watch or hear anything about children for a couple years. If this kind of video isn't for you, that's okay, click out. I have other videos. Otherwise, if you don't have your cup of coffee already, go ahead and grab it. I have mine. Sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Everyone called Lily Lily, but her real name was Ileana Peters, and she was a 10-year-old girl from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. She lived with her dad. Her mom and dad were divorced, and she lived with him. She was described by her great-grandmother as being the sweetest little girl, and you can tell from all the photos that I've seen of her, she has the biggest smile on her face. She has such a beautiful smile, always smiling. And when you hear about her family history, it's incredible how genuinely happy she was for the stuff that she's been through. Her great-grandmother said that she was the sweetest little girl, and she was very polite and respectful to everyone. It was on Sunday, April 24th, 2022, when Lily decided that she wanted to go over to her aunt's house. It was literally about a quarter mile away from her own house, and she went there all the time. So she wanted to go visit her aunt for the day, and it wasn't a big deal. She took her bike and went to her aunt's house, and she stayed there all day long. Now, it wasn't until around 9 p.m. at night that her dad got a little worried because she wasn't home yet, and she was no longer at her aunt's house. So he immediately called the police. They got all the information about Lily. She was wearing a long sleeve purple shirt, black leggings, and gray sneakers, and they put out a search party for her. They were casing the entire neighborhood and looking around her house, her aunt's house. As they were looking, they went to this one biking trail, like a walking trail in a wooded area that Lily always rode her bike in that area, always. So they went to look in that area, and that's where they found her bike laying on the trail. So they kept searching that area, and it was at 9:15 Monday morning that they found Lily Peters' body. This wooded trail was only a mile away from her aunt's house. So it really wasn't very far when she left her aunt's house to where she was murdered. Police found it obvious that Lily was a victim of murder, and they didn't have any suspects. They had no evidence, nothing to tell them where to go. They just knew that she was at her aunt's house, she left, and they found her bike in this trail that she rode on all the time. So they really had no leads, nothing to go off of, and the town was terrified. They didn't know if everyone was at risk, if their kids were at risk, so people were really frantic about this. And as the police tried to look for any evidence and any suspects, Lily's body was sent across state lines to the medical examiner's office in Ramsey County in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's where the forensic pathologist assisted in this investigation. As the investigation kept going, more than 70 officers from nearly 20 agencies were assisting in this investigation. And the police received over 200 tips from the public that they called critical in the investigation. And according to the Chippewa coroner, the preliminary results showed that Lily Peters died from blunt force trauma and strangulation. And of course, the manner of death was homicide. This isn't completed yet. They don't have the toxicology reports back. They won't have that back for a couple weeks, but they do know all of the other things. The police, throughout this entire investigation, still had no leads. They were getting tips from people, but the one tip that they got that really helped in the investigation, helped get this killer, was one from an anonymous Reddit user. Someone posted on Reddit about a possible sighting of Lily with another kid and feared that the kid did it. The post is quoted saying, "What's scary is I was playing Pokemon Go in the park that day, walking along that very same trail. My stomach turns when I think that I saw that girl in a pink purple hoodie on her bike with another kid on my way out. I have a suspicion that it could be another kid that did it. And after people were asking tons of questions to this anonymous Reddit user, she went completely silent. Did not answer any questions, didn't say that they called the police, nothing like that. So there were tons of other Reddit users that were on top of this and just felt compelled to call the police and let them know that, hey, someone saw Lily with another kid. Now, Lily went missing Sunday. They found her Monday morning, and it was on Tuesday that the anonymous Reddit user posted this, and that was when the police announced that they arrested a suspect, which was a juvenile, and they didn't give out the information, the name or anything like that at that time. They did let the public know that there was no risk. This person was known to Lily, and everyone could just go about their lives as normal. So the community, not knowing what else to do, and they really just wanted to make this family feel better, but they couldn't. They just, in support for Lily, they put purple ribbons everywhere, all over the town, all over the poles in the town, and the fences at her school. They decorated with all purple flowers and ribbons and stuffed animals, and it really helped the other kids in her class. She's only 10 years old. So these other 10-year-olds, her fellow classmates, all have to process the fact that she was murdered. One mom from that town did say that going there and placing things at this memorial for Lily did help her daughter with processing everything. Then on Wednesday, police came out and said that the suspect that they had in custody was a 14-year-old 8th grader, Carson Petersberger, which is Lily's cousin. Now, it was immediately said that the suspect, the 14-year-old, made statements that his intention was to rape and kill his cousin. That he planned to do that. He walked her to the trail, and that's what he was planning to do the entire time. He let the police know exactly what he did and exactly how he planned to do it. He said that he made her get off the trail a little bit, and as soon as he got her off the trail, he punched her in the stomach, which knocked her down to the ground, and he started to strangle her. He then got off of her and hit her with a stick, and then got on top of her again and strangled her to where she died. And that is when he sexually assaulted her. So he was charged with first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree sexual assault, and first-degree sexual assault of a child under 13, resulting in great bodily harm. The 14-year-old Carson, he did end up in adult court, and they were fighting to have him being released. The defense was saying that he wasn't a flight risk because he couldn't drive yet, and the prosecution said absolutely not. He planned to do this. He thought it out, planned it out, and actually went through with killing his cousin. He is a threat to society, and he shouldn't be allowed in the public. And the judge fully agreed with the prosecution, detained him on $1 million cash bond, and called his alleged crimes a serious threat to the community. Now, Carson and Lily both come from broken families. They are cousins, but both of their families have been through a lot. I'm going to tell you a little bit about both of their families' history. First, I will tell you about Lily's family. Her mom's name is Jennifer Everly. She's 38, and she is currently on probation after being convicted of multiple counts of theft. She took 4 of her mother's credit cards and completely maxed them out, totaling $7,788.31. Her mom also conned her aunt and uncle out of $10,000 by completely making up a fake at-home work position. She went as far to do fake interviews, and that's how she got a hold of their banking information, and she took $10,000 from them. Her mom, Jennifer, was on probation at the time, and she lives about an hour away from Lily. Lily's father, the one that she lives with, his name is Alex Peters. And he has a couple convictions for drug and alcohol offenses, including several DUIs. Jennifer and Alex divorced each other in 2018, and just this January, Jennifer moved more than 60 miles away to Balsam Lake. Carson, the cousin, his father, Adam Berger, is a convicted pedophile. He's 37 years old, and he spent 3 years in jail after getting caught with quite a lot of pornographic images of young girls on his phone. Adam specifically had 10 pornographic photos of underage girls in spread-legged positions. He would crop naked men in the photo and then crop his own face onto that man. And he would also crop an naked older woman into the photo as well. At the time of him being caught for having those images, he was also found with 4 crack pipes in his home. It's said that when Adam went to jail, Carson really became a whole different kid. He used to smile and be happy, and he no longer did that once his dad left. He was heartbroken. Just completely shattered his life when his dad went to jail for that. People always accused of his mom as being a bad mother because every time they saw him with his mom out, he was never smiling. He'd always look down at the ground. He wasn't social in any way. So they really thought that he probably had a rough time with his mom and missed his dad. His mom was also accused of limiting his time with his dad's side of the family, which upset him even more. Carson's mom, Lorraine, she is the sister of Lily's dad. So it was a very brief relationship. They weren't together long at all, and they made Carson, and then his dad went to jail a couple years later. His mom, Lorraine, is now in a relationship with convicted fraudster John Repetto, and they live in Chippewa Falls. Adam and Lorraine's relationship was very brief. They made Carson and they split up 2 years later. During this time, Lorraine sued Adam for child support, and this was before he went to jail. He was charged with the offenses, but he wasn't in jail yet. Lorraine called the police on him because he claimed that he tried to run her over because she was trying to get child support off of him. And even though at this point Adam was not allowed to be alone with his son, he's a pedophile, he wasn't allowed to be alone with his 2-year-old son, he was in the car alone with his son that tried to run her over. Lorraine said that she saw what looked like a car lurking in the alley, so she followed the vehicle until it pulled over into a random driveway. The son got out of the car, and that's when Adam reversed the car, and Lorraine was trying to get him to not leave, so she was going at the car as well as it backing up. And that is when he drove the car at her, and she rolled off the hood and she fell to the ground. When Adam went to jail, then it was said that he lost all contact with his son. He didn't have any contact, but it is known that they wrote to each other constantly, all the time. They emailed, spoke on the phone. When Carson was at his grandparents' house, he got to speak with him multiple times a weekend. Adam Berger is currently in a halfway house after being released from Oshkosh Correctional Institution in April of 2021. It's unknown if he has seen his son since then. He's on supervised probation, and he is on the sex offender registry. Adam was really trying to push for unsupervised visits because he claimed that his son wasn't a victim of his offense. And let's be honest, our kids are victims of everything that we do as parents. So, yes, he was a victim of his offense. And he went on to say that his son is the best part of him. The judge denied that he needed to have supervised visits. And like I said, it's unknown if he has seen his son since he got out in April of 2021. Lorraine Davis, Carson's mom, has multiple convictions for drug offenses, and they're all from 2 years before she had her son. She was also arrested in 2005 for domestic battery. It was against her then husband, John Davis, but of course that was well before she was with her son and with Adam. After reading about these kids' family life, people really took to having opinions online, and Lily's mother had a lot to say about that. And it was actually before her nephew was arrested for the murder of her daughter. But I'll quote what she was saying online. She lashed out to the people that were bashing bashing her family. She called them trolls. And Lily's mom, Jennifer, posted, "What makes zero sense is how quickly you judge my family based on a timeline and assumptions you can only speculate on since it's privy to the investigation, that those details not be released. As Lily's mother, I can only say I am ashamed of you folks out there judging us from behind a screen. I hope you never ever endure this kind of heartache. If you cannot offer kindness, don't offer anything. My daughter was kind. If you truly want to be part of bringing justice, you can do right by my daughter and model something she lived by, kindness." People are also posting a lot of things about Carson's mom's husband because he's accused of posting inappropriate comments and jokes following the discovery of Lily's body. And he is quoted saying, "Yes, let's go on about how offensive my Facebook is. There is a time and place. This is not the time. Thank you." He had apparently posted sexist images, misogyny, and posts about drug abuse and weapons. So these are all the details that I found in this case. Carson is not at trial yet or anything like that. It's literally just happened. But I wanted to get all the information and compile it together. This is sad. This is heartbreaking. These children had really messed up home lives, family lives, but that doesn't ever give anyone the right to murder. That has to be, I think that also has to be in someone to do something like that. That's just my opinion. So that is everything that I have on this case. I'm sure we're going to be finding out more as the weeks go by. And if you want to add it to the comments, you can. I might do a part 2 eventually after everything happens and trial takes place and all that stuff. So just wanted to bring you all the information that I could find in one place, and let me know your thoughts on everything. And like always, if you have any suggestions for videos, leave them in the comments or email them to me. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and I hope you have a good day.